Republican Seniors of Minnesota, a group of seasoned seniors that learn and discuss issues important to all Minnesotans, featuring guest speakers with traditional conservative values, plus Republican candidates at all levels, pledging strength and optimism. We believe in and advocate for the principles of personal responsibility, economic prosperity, peace through strong national defense, and limited, sensible government. Republican Seniors of Minnesota. It's not the years in your life, but the life in your years.
We've got a ton of people. I'll make sure. I just want to write it down so that I don't miss you. That's all. Hello. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Boy, somebody's got a good voice. Yeah, good morning. Thanks for coming this morning. Good to see you after a glorious Easter break. And my name is Terry Flower. I'm chair of the Republican Seniors of Minnesota. Can everyone hear me all right? How about that back row? Gotcha. Thank you. Okay, this meeting is being live streamed on our website and through YouTube. We understand there are more folks interested in starting watch parties, and we'll be watching for that. I just thought make you want to know, we found out that 126 devices were logged into this meeting last month. And sometimes there's more than one person per device. Yeah, so what you're doing is good. Yes, sir. Okay. By the way, you can get a cap like the one I'm wearing here. We got them up for sale in the back of the room. And for those live stream viewers, you can just email us at republicanseniorsmn@gmail.com. Okay, let's join together in an opening prayer. Gracious God, thank you for bringing us safely together so we can network, accomplish business, and learn more how to make us stronger followers of your word. For 250 years, you have put America first, protected us when we needed it. We support President Trump and pray for you to continue to give him courage to lead us through the turmoil that has captured the globe. With your help, he'll be the first president to lead us out of that kind of war in the Middle East. With your help, Heavenly Father, we may be able to achieve peace in the Ukraine as well. Your Son died to set us free. Let us live to thank you and praise your name. Amen. We'd like to acknowledge our active and veteran military members, along with active and retired police officers, firefighters, and other first responders. Will those people please stand? Great. And now will you all please stand, and let's join together in a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, please be seated. I've appointed Carol Brumwell to lead our annual convention where we elect delegates and alternates. Carol?
Thank you, Terry. As announced on the April 1st call notice, we now have our annual convention for Republican Seniors of Minnesota. For those live streaming, I expect this convention to last 15 to 20 minutes. Have a cup of coffee. We'll be back with you with our speakers. A reminder that only paid up 2026 members who are present are eligible to vote today. I call this convention to order. As of this morning, we had 169 paid members. We have had 6 additional members join, which gives us a total of 175 paid members. Our Constitution says a quorum for this meeting is 15% needed for voting, and that would be 26 people. I've had a convention sign-in initial sheet running around, but I don't have it here. Would those of you who are paid 2026 members please raise your hand just for... Oh, yes, we have more than 26 of you in the room. Clearly, we have a quorum. Today, we're going to be voting to elect delegates from Republican seniors to congressional district conventions when we have 10 or more members in that CD. The congressional districts 2, 3, 5, and 6 have all qualified to have a Republican seniors delegate or alternate for their convention. These are 2-year terms. We also, at large, so everyone will vote for this, will be electing 2 delegates and 2 alternates to represent us at the state convention in Duluth. All nominees needed to express their interest at least a week prior to today. That means there are no nominations allowed from the floor. As the immediate past chair, I served as the chair of the nominating committee. The committee members serving with me were current board members Al Muirhoff, our chair Terry Flower, and past board member Elaine Loesch. Each nominee was interviewed and recommended by a committee member. We've asked each nominee to take about a minute to introduce themselves, so you'll know who they are as you vote. It gives a bit of their background. Will these individuals all come up front, please, and we'll just pass the microphone down the row. First, the state convention, Jay Kakuk, Kathy Kranz, who is working today, so I'll read her introduction, Scott Graham, and Al Muirhoff. For the CD2 convention, Sherry Wallace and Elaine Loesch. For the CD3 convention, Scott Graham is also running for CD3, and Tim Herman. Tim, are you here? Raise a hand, come forward. For CD5, as I had announced the previous meeting, CD5 had their convention last Saturday, so our previously elected delegate attended on our behalf. The delegate today will be elected to represent us in future conventions, and that individual is Rodney Tholen. He is out working, so I will read his introduction. Okay, and then for Congressional District 6, Cindy Pugh, who is also out of town, and Terry Watt.
I'm Al Muirhoff. I've been a member of this organization for 10 plus years. The last 3 years I've been the secretary who takes the minutes that you hopefully read every month. Anyway, I'm from Bloomington. I'm a precinct leader the last 15 years. Also worked on a number of campaigns and helped Beth Beebe, who's in Bloomington, win the school board twice. So anyway, I would enjoy going to the convention as alternate and willing to represent you all. And if you have any 2 cents worth to get in, I'm happy to listen.
I'll trade places here. Hello, my name is Jay K. Cook, lifelong conservative. Started off voting for Ronald Reagan. I escaped California, landed here in Minnesota. Go figure. I got active in politics about 2.5 years ago, worked for Kathy Burkett's team, volunteered at state and CD3. Now I'm a vice chair for 42, a vice chair for CD3, active here as a board member and senior Republicans. And I'm a hard conservative and will vote for, I'll actually show up. I'm a delegate that actually goes and shows up. And I was your delegate for last 2 cycles, so proud to do it again if you will vote for me.
Thank you, Jay. I'll read Kathy Cran's announcement. She is a tax accountant and is working today, as you might guess, getting ready with her clients. Kathy Kranz is a longtime conservative and active member of the Republican Party in Bloomington. She's a founding member of Residents for a Better Bloomington and has long championed local engagement and accountable government. With a professional background in accounting, business, and finance, Kathy brings a results-driven and fiscally responsible perspective to the political process. She has served in leadership roles in Senate District 51 and 50, participated in candidate nominating committees at both local and state levels, contributed to numerous GOP campaigns and community initiatives promoting limited government, economic growth, and individual liberty. Kathy is dedicated to strengthening Republican values, supporting principled candidates, ensuring grassroots votes are represented, and upholding the integrity of party rules and processes. She'd be honored to represent you at the state convention.
Well, good morning. My name's Scott Graham. You've seen me on the board here and walking around. I've been involved with the senior Republicans for about 3 years now. I was asked to join as a vacant seat on the board, so I've enjoyed being on the board. I was also your last delegate to the state convention. I'm now a delegate for State Central representing you there. My family has a long history in Minnesota. My grandmother's family settled Benton County. They were county commissioners there, and their township is named after them. On my grandfather's side, my great-grandfather was Minnesota's first treasurer, appointed by Governor Ramsey. He actually wrote the first check on the state of Minnesota. So this record of my life and my family has continued on to why I'm here. The things that I've seen here, as our speakers have spoken to us, has truly been inspiring and amazing. It's given me a background and a knowledge, and this is why I'm asking for your vote. I want to continue what we're learning here and bring it to these people we need to get properly voted for us. I'm on the board of SD 45 out of Plymouth, Wayzata. My background in work world is my degree is in agricultural business from Montana State. I worked in the grain business for a number of years. That brought me in. Lost in Chicago for 28 years. I had to come home. So I'm back here now. I'm a sole proprietor. You maybe bought some of my products when I was selling at farmers markets. I sold cheese from Wisconsin. So maybe you were some of my clients at Bloomington and Minneapolis. So thank you for listening to my story. I hope you vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Elaine, would you be willing to come up and introduce yourself? And Sherry Wallace, are you here? Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Elaine Lesh. I did see Sherry Wallace last night, and she is willing to be nominated, and she's been active in Metro Republican Women, and she is also one of the founding members of our Speaking Proudly competition. So, do you want to know about me?
I want to know about you.
Okay. I've been involved in politics for about 20 years, active in Metro Republican Women. I joined here at least 10 years ago. I have served on the board here, and I also have served as state treasurer of Minnesota Federation of Republican Women, and I'm involved in the Speaking Proudly competition.
Thank you. And Tim, are you here? Tim Herman? Didn't make it. Okay. Terry interviewed him, recommended him to be serving as the alternate for CD3. For CD5, Rodney Tholen is working today. He is delivering a fire truck to North Carolina. So he won't be here today. But I had the pleasure of speaking with Rodney. He is businessman. He's been a businessman in the automotive industry. He was in business for 30 years. He had 10 years in federal service in various capacities. He's been self-employed for decades. All the way along in his work life, he has been self-employed in various roles. He lives in Richfield, is excited to represent us at the future CD5 conventions. And Terry? Okay. Thank you. And Terry, correct me on the pronunciation of Cindy's last name. Pugh. Okay, I had that right. Cindy Pugh is out of town. She is celebrating the first birthday of a grandchild, so you can understand why that's not to be missed. Cindy is currently serving as a board member of Child Protection League, is an active member, committee chairwoman, and current past president of the Fort Snelling Memorial Chapel Foundation. Cindy served 3 terms in the Minnesota House of Representatives, was elected delegate to the 2016 Republican National Convention in Cleveland, and was elected committeewoman representing Minnesota to its Rules Committee. Cindy has been elected repeatedly to congressional and state conventions as well as to the State Central Committee since she attended her first caucus in 2008. Cindy co-founded the Southwest Metro Tea Party, which met weekly for years. Prior to that, Cindy was in management, a career at Dayton's, including general manager of the downtown St. Paul store for 7 of her 17 years. Cindy says, thank you very much to the Republican seniors for the honor of representing you at the 6th Congressional District. Terry.
Well, Cindy's a hard act to follow. She and Bonnie Gasper from Child Protection League are my mentors, and they're teaching me. I'm kind of new to this, but I've got a passion for people, from young people, unborn people, to people that are looking forward to seeing Jesus Christ soon. So these are the people that I will serve, but I'm learning from Bonnie Gasper, who's for Child Protection League, and also from Cindy. As you can see, I'm a Green Bay Packer fan, born and raised. I like Brett Favre when he played for the Packers. I liked him when he played for the Vikings. I am a Viking fan unless they're playing the Packers. And I used to sell hot dogs on the 50-yard line when I was 15 years old. So, and as far as my ability, I was raised in a home that was very conservative. In my 20s, I was a liberal. And when I came to know Jesus Christ, slowly but surely, I became a conservative. So, is that it? 2 minutes? Well, my leadership, I had leadership role for 40 years in a career that I absolutely loved. It was my passion since I was 7. And God's Word says we never retire. There's nothing in God's Word that talks about retiring. So I found out what I could be passionate about. I work hard at it. And this is one of the things I'm passionate about, too, to get our families to come home, back to Minnesota, and to help our families that are here now and bring our businesses back to Minnesota and let us thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Because each of these individuals are uncontested, I'll be asking for a voice vote. I officially nominate these individuals for the roles listed. May I have a second? Thank you. For the state convention, all in the room who are paid members can vote. Would you, all in favor of those nominees, say aye? Aye. Opposed, no? Thank you. Our state convention delegates and alternates are elected. For CD2 convention, all in favor, say aye if you're in CD2. And Chuck, is there, what color is CD2? Blue, okay. If you have a blue tag in your name tag, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no? Thank you. Our CD2 delegate and alternate are elected. For the CD3 convention, are we yellow? CD3, all in favor of your delegate and alternate say aye. 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 Opposed? All right, our CD3 delegate and alternate are elected. CD5 convention. And that, okay. All in favor of your CD5 delegate and alternate, say aye. All opposed? No? Okay, our CD5 delegate and alternate are elected. Congratulations to our delegates and alternates. You may be seated. Oh, CD6? Oh, goodness. Come back, Terry. We're going to vote for CD6. CD6 members, please vote for your delegate and alternate. All in favor, aye. Okay, that was kind of quiet, but they are here. Opposed, no. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry, Terry. Okay, we've elected our delegates and alternates. Congratulations. And I instruct our board secretary, Al Muirhoff, to notify the state party of this and the CD chairs of the names and contact information of those elected delegates and alternates. Al, I have a list for you. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this 2026 convention. All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job. Okay, and to save you some time, we've got the announcements will be up on the board behind me, so you can focus your attention on the screen.
Join us at the state capitol today, April 14th at noon for a rally in favor of school choice. Let's make sure the legislature and Governor Walz know there is broad support to opt in to the new federal education tax credit and create education savings accounts, ESAs, for students and families. The rally will occur right before a 1 p.m. hearing in the House Education Finance Committee on school choice legislation. Also taking place later today, April 14th, is the Elephant Club's statewide candidate forum. Chair Dennis Smith invites you to this special event featuring all governor, Senate, and other candidates. It begins at 5 p.m. at the Bear Path Golf and Country Club and is free to members. Non-members can attend for a $100 fee. You'll need to hasten your registration via phone or text at 612-889-3971 or email elephantclub@mngop.com. CD3 presents the U.S. Congress Candidate Forum this coming Thursday, April 16th, from 6 to 9 p.m. This is your chance to learn about the congressional candidates seeking Republican Party endorsement in the 3rd Congressional District. Also, you will hear from the senatorial candidates seeking Republican Party endorsement in Senate District 37. That's this Thursday, April 16th, 6 to 9 p.m. at the Maple Grove Community Center. Admission fee is $20. Register at cd3mngop.com under events. Sunday, April 26th. Got some spare time? Strike up new friendships with your Republican neighbors for a fun afternoon of bowling and great company at Elsie's Bowling Lanes in Northeast Minneapolis. Join the following candidates and score: Dalia al-Aqidi, Adam Schwarze, Kendall Qualls, Diane Krenz, and Joseph Banks. Again, Sunday, April 26th, beginning at 3 p.m. Brought to you by the Minneapolis Republican Party at mplsgop.org. Calling all conservatives. Join Minnesota's GOP-SD 49 on Friday, May 1st at Olympic Hills Golf Club. The Freedom Banquet is your chance to celebrate wins, connect with fellow conservatives, and fuel the momentum heading into a critical election season. We've made real progress, and now it's time to build on it. Together, we can generate the energy and resources needed to power our candidates to victory. Visit 49mngop.com to register by April 17th. Join members of GOP CD2 for the 2026 Reagan Dinner at the Crystal Lake Country Club in Lakeville, Minnesota. Our special guest speaker is Addison McDowell, North Carolina representative whose top priority in Congress is to tackle the drug crisis and strengthen border security to protect families and communities from the dangers posed by illegal immigration. The Reagan Dinner event takes place from 5:30 to 10 p.m., with doors opening at 5 p.m. Tickets are $125. Visit mncd2republicans.org for registration.
Okay, if you have a brief announcement that you'd like everybody to hear, plan on doing that towards the end of our meeting when we have the renowned 2 cents for 2 minutes program where you can take a brief period to make your pitch. Right now we do want to recognize birthdays and cheer those of you celebrating birthdays or special events like anniversaries or maybe a birth of a grandchild. Is anybody celebrating this month? Yes. Birthday. Good for you. You don't have to. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? You want to stand and wave or? Yeah. Good for you. Okay.
April 5th.
April 5th.
Birthday.
Yeah. All right. I want you to know that you are welcome to stay in the room for conversations. We've got a lot of candidates here this morning. They're not going to all be able to speak. So some will who made arrangements beforehand. But you might want to get to meet some of the candidates. I'll at least introduce you to most of them. I do want to, before we get all the candidates up, I just wanted to say, we brought you in the chair of the state party to, let you know we're still connected, and they're concerned about what's going on here, and we're concerned about what's going on at the state party. Today, Donna Bergstrom, the deputy chair, is here, and she would just like to just say hello.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for letting me speak to you for just a minute, I guess. And I did want to say, really from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all that you do. I know the seniors is one of our longstanding affiliate groups. You're one of our strongest. What was it? Last year we had a fundraiser together, so we just really enjoy working with the affiliates group. So thank you. Thank you for running such a smooth convention, Carol. I think that's probably the smoothest one we've had so far, so thank you for that, and thank you for everyone that stood up to serve. I just came down from Duluth. That's where I live, and I'll tell you what a quick zip that was. And I'm beginning to wonder, where is everybody going? I've been deputy chair for 4 years, been driving back and forth for those 4 years, and it seems like the traffic just gets less and less. And I'm worried that we're having more and more people leaving the great state of Minnesota. So I want to encourage you all to stay and fight, and to remind everyone that we actually have things that we can do to win in the fall elections. Of course, we have our convention coming up where we have great candidates running. We're going to endorse our candidates, and then we're going to have to get out and help them win. One of the things that we always love to have people do is sign up to be election judges. And I think this is one of our strongest groups for election judges. Who all in here is going to be an election judge or has thought about it? Okay, keep going. Okay, we would love it if anybody else could help serve. Just sign up on our website, the Minnesota GOP, so we get your name on our list, or tell your BPOU chair, however you want to do it, or email info@mngop.com. We need to get your name on that list and then apply for the job. Then, of course, if you're willing to call, we've got a great opportunity right now. We're going to try to call 10,000 people and get a taste of what they think is really problematic in Minnesota. And I've made a few of those calls. And the first thing that comes up is fraud. So how many of you are tired of the fraud? And I know we've got candidates. Yeah, I think that's the softball. Everybody's hand should go up. I think we got candidates that are going to talk about it too, but it's just truly unbelievable. Again, been the deputy chair for 4 years. I think this past year has been the most I've ever been on media talking about Minnesota and the fraud. It's truly unbelievable. So I just want to jump in the Wayback Machine really quick. 2018, how many of us remember Congressman Jason Lewis? Jason Lewis was in Congress, and he talked about the daycare fraud then. 2018, Jeff Johnson and I were on the ballot for governor, lieutenant governor, and we were also talking about Waltz and his manners and what problems could lay ahead. And of course, they've all come true. So now we're going to just really stop it. We're going to draw the line in the sand and say we're not going to do this anymore because we want to have a great state again. We want to get our education up for our kids and grandkids. We want to know that our taxpayer dollars are going to good programs, and we want to be able to keep all that money in our pocket that we make when we go and earn our keep or when we get our wages from our pensions. So anyway, thank you again so much for letting me talk. All's well with the party. It all's well with our affiliates because we are a partnership. So thank you, and thanks for all that you do. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you. Thank you, Donna. Okay, I'd like to introduce you to Lisa Demuth. Lisa was elected to the Minnesota House of Representatives in 2018. She's a lifelong resident of Minnesota. She and her husband, Nick, have built their lives around faith, family, and community. Together, they've raised 4 children and are proud grandparents of 7. In February of 2025, Lisa made history as the first black lawmaker and first Republican woman to serve as Speaker of the House. And as Speaker, she delivered on conservative priorities, working to pass a common-sense budget that achieved the largest reduction in state spending in Minnesota history, strengthened the economy, and protected taxpayers. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you. Well, good morning, seniors, senior Republicans. It is good to be with you this morning. How is everybody today? Great. All right. Well, thank you for coming out. I know we have people on the live stream, too. And so welcome to those on the live stream. My name is Lisa Demuth, and I am a candidate for governor. You might say, well, why would you want to run for governor? Here's why. In my limited time with you, raise your hand if you remember when we had excellent education here in the state of Minnesota. Keep your hands up. Remember when we could have businesses start, grow, and thrive? Keep your hands up. And when our tax dollars weren't being lost in fraud. Every hand is up in this place. That is why I'm running for governor. As a lifelong Minnesotan, as a business owner, a mom and a grandma, I know Minnesota is too good to let go to where we find ourselves today. You can clap for that. As a lawmaker, serving in the minority until under my leadership, we took the tie in the House in the 24 election. We could have bills. I had my first bill trying to combat fraud in 2019, but the Democrats were not serious about it. As soon as we took the tie and I became Speaker of the House, I said, we're going to establish the Fraud Prevention and Agency Oversight Committee. I was told by the Democrats, you can work on that, don't call it fraud. I said, I will absolutely work on it and call it fraud. This needs to be exposed to the light of day, and you can see where we are now. Here's my vision for Minnesota, making sure that we strengthen our schools so that more than half of our kids can read at grade level, because that is where our numbers are right now. Making sure that our kids are taught how to think, not what to think. I also want to make sure that we reduce and eliminate mandates on businesses that are driving our businesses out of the state. I want to first and foremost finally end that tax on Social Security, lower our taxes, protect our taxpayer dollars in fraud, and make sure our commissioners are being held accountable here in the state of Minnesota instead of promoted. That is a basic thing that we need. My running mate, Ryan Wilson, if his name is familiar, he ran for state auditor in 2022, coming 8,000 votes short. We had 200,000 Republicans that didn't show up to vote. How will I defeat Senator Klobuchar, and I'm not afraid of a hard fight, let me tell you. That means every Republican shows up. We bump up those numbers in the suburbs and in the metro area. Senator Klobuchar has been in Washington for 20 years. We don't need more Washington-style politics brought back here to the state of Minnesota. We need to make us stronger and better, get back to our roots and values, and propel us forward. My name is Lisa Demuth, running for governor, honored to be with you. That was the most effective convention that I have been a part of. Congratulations. Thank you, Minnesota senior Republicans, for being an active part of our state. It is all of us pulling together, doing the right thing, and projecting us forward that's going to turn this state around. Thank you very much.
Next, we'd like to introduce Adam Schwarze. Do you have any questions? Yeah. Does anybody have questions for Lisa? Quick ones? Yes, sir.
Wait for the mic.
Kim Rich, running for the House of Representatives in 46B against Cheryl Joachim. My concern is we've got a dozen people running for governor, and there's a lot of House seats that are vacant at this point on the Republican side. And with you leaving, because you're going to win this race.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
I'm concerned about that. Is there a reason to be concerned?
So this is what we're doing. The House Republican Campaign Committee, the HRCC, which I have led for the last 3 years. I turned that over, though, to make sure there wasn't a perceived conflict of interest, to leader Harry Niska. We have raised a record amount of money before I turned those reins over to him. The beginning or the end of October is when I did that. What I can tell you, though, is we have an executive director in the HRCC under my leadership. She came on the beginning of 2024 for the first time in 10 years. In the House, we can't look at this as a part-time operation. So I raised a record amount of dollars. I made sure that we were set and ready to go with training for our candidates, which we have done well. And I delivered then the tie that was choosing excellent candidates that could win in the uniqueness of each district. In the 24 election, House was the only thing legislatively that was on the ballot. We flipped a 96-year Democrat-held seat up in the Iron Range. First time that a Republican has held that seat in 96 years. We did the same thing down in Winona, a Democrat-held seat for 40 years that we flipped to Republican. Minnesotans are tired of what has happened in this state under Democrat control. That message was sent loud and clear. We held every one of our 64 held seats, gained the 3 to bring us to a tie. Minnesota is ready for a change, and we are fully ready to support the House and win those seats and win an outright majority. Minnesota is ready for it, and so is the House Republican Caucus. Thank you for that question. And I'm not afraid of a fight.
You hear all the time, that Republicans can't win unless they take Minneapolis, the metro area. You hear that over and over again. And I've not heard from one candidate how they plan to take Minneapolis and how many of them are out there walking the streets, going door to door now. And I haven't seen one. So how do you plan to go up against that Klobuchar machine in inner Minneapolis?
Great question. When we look at winning statewide, this is how we do it. We turn out every Republican voter statewide, because the 200,000 Republicans that didn't show up in the 2022 midterm, that wasn't just in one area. That was statewide. If we had turned out every Republican voter statewide, Ryan Wilson, my running mate, would have been our state auditor. We would have had a majority in the Senate most likely a majority in the House. So turning out Republicans statewide, yes, I believe in election integrity. If I have to show my driver's license to get a fishing license, there's no reason why we shouldn't have that. But what we have to do is we have to have Republican majorities to take these things seriously and turn them around. If we as Republicans choose to be frustrated and stay home, we are hand-delivering victories to the Democrats. We can't do that. So statewide, and there are efforts going on statewide to identify voters, Republican voters statewide. Every Republican needs to turn out. My running mate lost by a fraction of a percent, less than 0.5%. That is bumping up the numbers in the suburbs. He's from Maple Grove. That is bumping up the numbers in Minneapolis and St. Paul and turning out across the state. That's how we go ahead and deliver that victory statewide, and we can absolutely do it.
Yes. Lisa, thank you for coming today and telling us about your campaign. In February, at the February caucus in my precinct, we learned that Amy Klobuchar is likely going to be the Democrat candidate. And I think immediately 3 or 4 of the participants said, oh, it's all over. I mean, with that name recognition, you can't beat that. So my question is, how specifically are you going to go after her, so to speak? I've seen in your literature that you're calling her the third term of Tim Walz, and I think that's a good start. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Absolutely. So this is what I want Republicans across the state to understand. When I first announced my campaign, November 2nd, there were a couple of things that had to come into play. First of all, it had to be possible for a Republican to win statewide. It is proven and possible when we focus together, and I am abiding by the endorsement. I think that's really important. When we focus and unify, that is how we deliver this. I believe that Senator Klobuchar is a Tim Walz third term. There is no light between them. She has been in Washington for 20 years. When you talk about fraud, yes, we have had record fraud that is horrible, theft here in the state. Part of that was federal tax dollars feeding our future. Senator Klobuchar never protected our federal dollars in her position in the Senate. She came out about I didn't think Tim Walz was going to be on the ballot. He's not. Now it's Klobuchar. I don't know. But either way, when you look at her page for running for governor, she has one page and it's a fundraising page. She's coming out with no policy whatsoever, and she has done 0 interviews about wanting to be governor or anything about it. She does not have a plan. She has not performed and been a leader in the Senate after 20 years. That we need more than that. We watched Governor Walz come back from Congress and bring Washington to Minnesota. It didn't work well. We watched Attorney General Ellison come back from Congress, from Washington, and look what it did to our state. We don't need Washington brought back here. She is absolutely part of the machine. She faced a hard race 20 years ago and won. But the rest of the races, she has not faced serious challengers. And her favorability in the polls, even before she announced, has been dropping. There is not a single independent, soft Democrat or Republican should think that this is over. That is defeat, and that is not where we're at. She is absolutely defeatable in the governor's race. That is why I'm running. I never would have given up everything to step into this and run, because I could have had my same seat in the legislature for as long as I wanted, as long as I kept working for my constituents. But I know there is a pathway forward. I know I am the right candidate. That is why I'm before you today, and it is absolutely doable. Do not take defeat. This is a victory when we pull together that we all can win.
Hi, my name is Terry. In the state of Minnesota, we have abortion all the way up to birth without parental consent or notification of minors. People are walking up there with Nurses are walking up there with their students and having abortions. These people right here are losing their children, grandchildren, and the devastation and the PTSD and the trauma that these girls and men go through. What are you going to do as governor to stop this?
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. I am pro-life. That is from conception until natural death. Let me tell you, when Democrats had full control of the state government in 2023, in February, we were on the House floor when they brought what was called the PRO Act, Protecting Reproductive Rights or something like that is what it was. You are exactly right. There is no parental notification. In Minnesota, abortion is legal up until the moment of birth. It has taken away the necessity for a medical provider to provide care for a baby born at whatever term, whether abortion. It is horrible, and we will pay the price for this. This is what we need to do. We need to step in and have Republicans who are a party that supports life. We need to step in and have majorities. I will also say that part of that bill that year, there was all the funding that used to go to pregnancy resource centers. Even though it wasn't a large dollar amount, that was stripped away. Yet we watched funding for Planned Parenthood explode. We need to restore funding so that women could make different choices. I like that you brought up men, because I have said this before, that if more men would take responsibility, maybe women wouldn't think abortion was their option. What can we do to change the law? It is going to take a change at the Supreme Court, because in the 90s there was a bill or a case, Doe versus Gomez, that codified that and put that into state law. It is going to take generational change, but it has to start someplace. That is also why I'm running for governor. Thank you for the question. Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate the questions. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate
that. And now we've got Adam Schwarze running for the U.S. Senate. And as you can read here, he brings the common sense solutions that work. Keep men out of women's sports. Lower our taxes. Put parents in control of their children's education. Stronger American economy. Root out fraud and waste. Focus on small business. Fight for our farmers. And restore America's strength and stability. Yeah, thank you so much. God bless you.
Good morning, friends. I apologize I won't be able to stay till your 2 cents, but I have a quick announcement on a personal level before I start my remarks. Is being a Bloomington guy, I know most of you in this room, I come here every month, except for last month. And I didn't come last month because the night prior my grandfather has passed away. I know they made an announcement here, but I just want to thank you. A lot of you reached out to me and my family for love and support, and prayers matter. So thank you so much for doing that. God bless you, and thank you for your love and support. So Adam Schwarze, running for the United States Senate. I'm going to use my 3 minutes to talk about one thing: values. As I stand before you running for the United States Senate, what are my values as somebody who seeks your endorsement as an affiliate of the Republican Party? One, I'm a Christian. I'm a follower of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, not Sharia law, which is incompatible with our great American culture. Number two, I've served under 4 presidents, 9 deployments to over 75 countries. So I know what leadership looks like. Poor leadership, Biden, Obama. And I know what great leadership looks like my 47th Commander-in-Chief and our great President, Donald J. Trump. Through under his leadership, America is back on top again. The lowest reduction by percentage in drug listing prices in the history. No tax on overtime. No tax on tips. No tax on Social Security. And it's not even the midterms yet, team. But that's what happens when you elect a leader. Who's heard of this bill? Who cares about election integrity? Who's heard of this wonderful piece of legislation called the Save America Act? Where is that bill stuck right now? The U.S. Senate. Why? We have control. We have a majority. Because we haven't elected fighters. We need fighters who are going to pass that beautiful piece of legislation that shores up all of our elections. That's why I'm running, to fight for you. As I fought for you my whole life since my 18th birthday. Lastly, life. Some candidates shy away from it. Some candidates right now are for running the United States Senate as a Republican who are pro-abortion candidates. Not me. It's a tough issue. It's a provocative issue. But as a leader, I lead into the issue. And why? Because it affects me personally. You see, I was adopted. I'm only on this planet because my mom sacrificed so I could be before you here today. And when I get in the United States Senate, I'm going to continue to fight for life. Who in here would be okay with, instead of your federal tax dollars funding abortions, would you be okay with supporting expectant mothers? Would you be okay with expanding adoptions? Me too. Because there's thousands of children all across the country right now who are waiting to be adopted into loving families just like I was. And lastly, I fought for you my whole life as a 10-year Marine, 11-year Navy SEAL, but I continue to fight for you right now. Because like Lisa, I am also honoring your endorsement and abiding by it down ballot. So whoever you endorse, other than the United States Senate race, I'm going to endorse them too. Any veterans out there? I saw some hats earlier. Please, veterans, raise your hands. Give the round of applause for my veteran brothers and sisters. Al, I'm reclaiming my clap time for the veterans. My veteran brothers and sisters, get this. We fight and win on the battlefield because we fight together as a team. And that's why we have to fight together and abide by the endorsement. So we do the work. But May 29th, we abide by the will of the people, your will. And we take back our state. No primaries in 2026. Prosperity for our great state of Minnesota. Thank you so much for your time. It's great to be here. I look forward to your phenomenal questions. KT.
I don't know if it's a question more than a comment. You know what I'm going to say. My youngest son was adopted from Korea at age 5. Not going to get emotional. What can we do and what will we do to make adoption in this country more affordable? It is astronomical. The waiting lists are phenomenal, and we need to change that because many adopting parents go out of the country to adopt their child.
That's a beautiful question. It's almost like I paid you to ask that, Katie. That's what matters when you elect a United States Senator that shares our values. That's why I talked about values today. Senator Tina Smith loved using your tax dollars for Planned Parenthood. She would use your tax dollars for any form of death possible, except for promoting life. We have other candidates in this race right now who don't even mention adoption. It's a priority to me because it personally affects me, but it's also the morally right thing to do. We are on the right side of God, by the way, when we promote life. And so I look to champion life through adoption, through supporting expectant mothers. 70% of women get abortions because they feel like they're not going to be supported. So it helps support women. And frankly, that's why I'm also running as a Republican, because we support women, whether it be expected mothers so they can choose life, whether it be keeping women from having to serve time in prisons with men, or protecting your daughters and your granddaughters from having to compete against sports against biological males. That's why I'm running as a Republican. I look forward to advancing adoption, and that's why it matters that we elect a champion for life and a champion that aligns with our values. Well, if there's no other questions, one of you lovely ladies asked about Minneapolis. It was not brought up. We actually just endorsed a wonderful candidate who's going to take back Minneapolis. And Dalia, would you mind standing up? Dalia just got endorsed for all of CD5. So when you ask of how we're going to win in Minneapolis, she's standing over there. And I've seen her work. And if you've seen anything about Dalia, she actually ran last time. She's got endorsed. She's got a campaign that's already got experience in the field now. And her campaign is blowing up. So that is why not only we take back Minneapolis, by the way, but every 1,000 ballots that Dalia converges onto the team is 1,000 votes less that we need to take at the statewide level. So this truly is a team game. It's a team sport, and I'm so blessed to be on the same team as Dalia. Congratulations on your endorsement.
Adam, I have one point to make out. This is something we've not heard. Minnesota is now the number 9th state in the movement of capital out of the United States, out of Minnesota. So we hear about Michigan, California, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, so on. We're right behind Ohio. Yeah. We have billions of dollars that have left the state. No one's talking about it, but it's happening. Yeah. Thank you.
Get him.
Yes, sir. God bless.
Way to go, Adam! USA!
Okay, our last candidate today is Dalia al-Aqidi, who is challenging the current representative for CD5, Ilhan Omar. She's running as a Republican for the U.S. Congress because she takes her oath of citizenship seriously. What a novel idea. And change has to start somewhere.
Thank you so much.
You will get him too.
I will get her. Good morning, everybody. Adam, thank you. This weekend, something powerful happened. Grassroots delegates delivered an overwhelming endorsement to my campaign. They respected that I told them all that I will abide and honor the endorsement. I was the only candidate who decided to honor their choices, and that's why I'm an endorsed candidate today. My name is Dalia al-Aqidi. I moved to the United States legally in 1993 after waiting for a long time, after the help of a very good friend of mine. His name was Chris Stevens. Chris Stevens was the ambassador who was killed in Benghazi by radical Islamism. I've been fighting radical Islamism and political Islamism and terrorism all my life. I've been a journalist for 37 years. I believe in the American dream. Here I am, an immigrant woman talking to you, asking for your support and asking for your endorsement. And I'm telling you, send me to Washington. I will fight for lower taxes. I will fight for stronger accountability, tough measures to stop the fraud. I will fight to protect our girls in their bathrooms and in their sports. I will fight against any form of terrorism. I will fight strongly to stop the Sharia law because guess what? I know the Sharia law more than all of you because I ran away from it. I will support our men and women who are fighting and sacrificing their lives for us to be free. I will fight against every illegal immigrant. I will fight against everyone who stands in the American streets, on our streets, chanting death to America. I will tell them, this country is not for you. Get the hell out. This is what makes me a proud American. This is not a talk. I ran in 2024. 86,000 people voted for me, and I outperformed President Trump by 25%. So, Janet, the way we win is to reach out to the Democrats that are sick and tired of Ilhan Omar, sick and tired of socialists, and tell them, we all in this together. We have so many common grounds. We're not going to compromise our values, but we will vote and we will help everybody because Minnesota deserves saving. Thank you and God bless you all. Oh, questions? I guess not. Well, let me tell you one thing. Nobody is against illegal immigrants than the immigrants themselves. Because we waited. Because we fled our countries for freedom for the American dream. And the American dream is to be free to create an opportunity and make the life you want without permission. Thank you.
Thank you, Dalia. Okay, we could only allow a limited number of candidates to speak, but I want you to know some other people are here. Diane Krenz, running for Hennepin County Attorney. Quentin Whittrack for CD3. Tad Jude is also here. Jeremy Westby, running for CD3 Congress. So these are some of the people you may have a chance to hear them next month. Say, do you know why cell phone reception is so good in Wisconsin? Even the smallest town has at least 4 bars. Folks, before our distinguished speaker, Congressman John Kline, we're going to take a 3-minute stretch so you can stand or stretch or walk around or get another cup of coffee, whatever, and there'll be a countdown timer on the screen. So please be back in your seats when the 3 minutes is concluded.
You're watching Republican Seniors of Minnesota. We'll be right back.
Republican Seniors of Minnesota appreciates your financial support as we continue to bring guest speakers of official capacity and prominence. Help us grow the conservative movement in our state and country. Scan the QR code to make a donation today.
Tweet, you're fighting with the hashtag not fixing the street. Congressman's yelling like he's on a game show. Meanwhile, my taxes just ate my burrito. Left wing, right wing, flapping in the breeze. We're stuck in the middle, begging pretty please. Stop the hate, stop the spin. We don't care which side wins. Just fix the roads, fund the schools. Quit treating us like political tools. We're red, we're blue, we're all kind of screwed. Unless you work together like grownups do. Filibusters, fundraising, golf cart rides, arguing while the planet fries. One blames the other like it's recess again, but nobody's playing, we just want to win. You wear fancy pins and give fiery speeches, but can you agree on anything that reaches? Pass the hate, pass the lies, drop the drama and compromise. We need jobs, not your feud, and less TV where you come off rude. We're red, we're blue, we're tired too. Try acting like Americans do. Oh, Washington, you're like a bad sitcom, but without the laughs or a theme song. Can we get a plot twist? Maybe a clue where the credits roll and we all pull through. Yeah, I said it. Maybe just one bipartisan barbecue a year. No name calling, just ribs and solutions. Is that too much to ask? Stop the hate, stop the fight, turn the wrongs into a right. No more gridlock, no more games. We know the parties, but not the names. We're red, we're blue, but mostly tired. Let's light a fire that's not just wire. So dance, donkey, prance, elephant. We the people pay the rent. Do your job, not just the show, 'cause we're all in this rodeo.
All right, our 3 minutes are over. Please join us in having a seat, and we'll move on. Thank you. Somebody's got a hold of it.
Can you please be seated? Okay, folks, one last thing before we have our distinguished speaker for the morning, and that's Colonel Don Patton has been responsible for bringing in the speakers that you've heard all year, and he has some questions for the audience. Don?
Can you hear me okay? There we go. There we go. Several years ago, probably 25, Bob McGinnis asked me to organize programs help him organize programs. And so I've been doing that for the last 25 years. I've now got 4 pages of speakers that I've brought in. But I want to bring you an update of the importance of the speakers that we've had in and things that haven't been covered recently in the news. If you recall, we had a speaker on the mining up in northern Minnesota. The regulatory process was coming in. When Biden came to office, one of the first things he did was to void the process. Again, it's almost the Democrats are defeating our national security. It's almost we're bringing all these rare earth materials in from other places where we've got them in Minnesota, which creates revenue, which creates jobs. That is now being brought to legislation so that if Congress changes, that it can't be voided. But anyway, this mining operation in Minnesota is really an important issue, and we brought it here. I'm in touch with Julie Lucas, who is lobbying for that. But stay in touch. One of the other speakers we had a year ago was a gentleman by the name of Andy McClanahan. And I can't remember how I found him, but it was a process. But I got an email from Andy here recently, and it says, I haven't stopped. I'm at the airport training the Ohio welfare fraud investigators, and I'm in touch with people in Minnesota, and I'll be coming back in April, May to help the fraud investigation in Minnesota. He made another comment in his email to me. He said, I was told that Nick Shirley, remember the Nick Shirley, saw my presentation to the Minnesota seniors, and that's what brought him to Minnesota and found out about the Learning Center. So the programs that we're doing here are important and having great impact. A couple of other people that I made comment was, we had a guy here by the name of Hegseth several years ago, and he had a book out on in the arena, and I was trying to get him back, but then he got a little bit bigger job to come here. We've had Liz Collin, we've had General Votel, and the things that I've got planned for the next program, the May program, we're going to have the FBI come in. June, we're going to have the grocers come in and talk about the politics of food. July, you know the name Jack Brewer? You see him on Fox News quite often. I don't have a confirmation, but I've got Jack Brewer planning to come in and talk about racial issues. August, I've got a speaker lined up, confirmed, on immigration reform. There's a national organization in Washington. They have a local rep, and talking about this whole need for immigration and what's been going on. Some of the other topics, and the reason I wanted to ask Terry, some of these have come as requests from you folks and friends, but I'm working on a program on the dangers of Sharia and the Sharia law. I'm working on a program on public transport. As you know, you've been following, Fox has been covering the rapid rail in California. Well, we've got that in Minnesota with the Southwest light rail. I'm going to approach General Votel after this Middle East thing works out and get him to come back. I'm talking to some people on school safety and what's been doing, some of the innovations of that, and also Mike Haverman on Minnesota fiscal responsibility. So, but I appreciate your input with ideas, speakers, and a little update of what we got coming up ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Don. Thanks for all you do. And now our featured speaker, Congressman Emeritus John Kline from CD2. CD2 is my district, and I remember sitting in Empire Township when John first came in and introduced himself as a candidate, and after he can tell you about all the battles that went on, and it was his perseverance, never give up, never give up, never give up kind of guy. And he finally got elected to Congress, and we were very well served. John.
Thank you. I can't tell you how great it is to be up here not running for office. It's an amazing feeling. And also I feel very comfortable because I notice all the similar hairstyles. You know, it's amazing. Well, Don Patton explained about coercing people to come up and be a speaker. And when he asked, as he has over the years, many of us are happy to respond. But I wasn't exactly sure what I was supposed to talk about. So he sent me an email and he said, you got to explain how, you know, a bill becomes law. And then you got to explain reconciliation. Okay. And then I actually have a note on the reconciliation thing. We'll get to that and then understand we can have, it's just an open discussion about whatever's of interest to you. Not a lot going on, I know, so I don't expect a lot. Let me start by talking about how a bill becomes a law. Now, we all know that. You've probably seen the little cartoon. The House passes a bill, and the Senate passes a bill, and then they get together, and it goes to the president, and he signs it into law. Well, that's true, but it nowhere begins to touch the problem. Because as we're sitting today, we're seeing day after day and week after week where we can't get bills turned into law. So just a reminder of the basics. This is sort of a civics thing. All of you know this, but I'm going to rub it in for just a minute. The House has to pass a bill. Let's start with that. Somebody has to have an idea, introduce it. It gets worked around a little bit by some very, very skilled staff. Then it has to be produced and go to the Rules Committee. Well, the way that's set up, the majority party, in this case right now the Republicans, have a 2-to-1 advantage on the Rules Committee. So you'd think they'd never fail to pass a rule, and that used to be the case. When I was there in the good old easy days, We passed rules. Then that rule that the Rules Committee has approved has to go to the floor of the House and pass again. Again, when I was there in the bad old days when Tom Dalia was the majority leader and was known as the Hammer for a reason, we could pass those things. Today, not happening all the time. But if it does, then you've got to get it to the floor, and then it's got to pass with a simple majority and get signed and get ready to go up the line. In the meantime, the Senate's got to be passing exactly the same language. Not almost, not close, exactly, word for word, the same language. And how many times have you heard, well, Republicans are in control of the Senate? No. You also know, and we'll get to this when we start talking about reconciliation, in the Senate, you've got a thing called cloture. I don't really like to talk about the Senate. I didn't even like to go over there. But, sometimes I got my special visa and a little light marching pack and went over. But they've got to get 60 votes for most things. Assuming that they do, then they pass it, and if it's exactly the same language, now you can send it forward to the President of the United States. And if he's from your party, which is the world we live in now, it's very highly likely going to be signed into law. So that's the path of a bill becoming law. So, what's happening now? You have to get a majority. And in the House of Representatives, the rules are designed to empower and strengthen the majority. And in the Senate, by the way, the rules are designed to strengthen the power of the individual senator. That's why they're all running for president. Or they have run for president, or they're about to. So you've got to get people to come together. And we saw, much to our horror, what happened here when the Minnesota House passed the most outrageous abortion law in the country. How'd they do it? Every one of them voted for it. They stuck together. That law is so important, you'd think they would lose some. No, they stuck together. And the point there is that when you're in a closely divided house, you need to stick together. Your power comes from voting as a block. It doesn't mean that you're all totally in agreement. When I was there, we had some robust discussions in conference, in the caucus, where all the Republicans are gathered, and people stand up and occasionally even call each other names. I never actually did that, but I came close. You fight it out there. But then when it comes to the floor, and it comes to the issue of voting for the rule, you pass the rule. And then you vote to pass the bill. You have to do it that way, or you don't have any power. Okay. So how do you get, if you have to have bipartisan support, if you have to have a bipartisan bill, and you're going to have to get there the way the Congress is configured now, because we don't have 60 votes in the Senate. By the way, some of you may remember when Obamacare passed, the Democrats in the Senate had 60 votes. That's still a horrifying thought to me, but they had it and they passed it. We're not in that position now. In order to get a bill passed, you have to have bipartisan votes. And that's a little bit annoying, I know. But that means that you have to make a deal. You have to make a deal. You have to decide, I'm speaking, when I say us, we, I'm always talking about Republicans, so I'll make it a little shorthand here. We have to decide what's the most important part of this. What are we going to hang on to? And what are we willing to give up? Because we're going to have to give something up. It's what happens when you make a deal. Once you hammer that out and you've got bipartisan legislation, that you can probably get it through the House. Remember, the Senate has to do the same thing. They can just take the language of the House bill, exact verbatim language, and pass it if they don't have to overcome cloture. But if it's bipartisan, it'll probably pass. Well, some people don't like the sound of that because it sounds like compromise. And compromise has become a pejorative term. It's wrong. If you compromise, it means you're compromising your ethics, your principles, your life, your religion. No. Think of it in terms of making a deal. We have a great deal maker, thank God, in the White House. But those deals have to be made. He can't sign something that doesn't get to him. Now, he's been trying, with mixed success, to do things by executive order. When it works, great. But remember this, if you live by the executive order, you die by the executive order. The next guy or woman who comes in from the other party wipes them all out, like Donald Trump did to Biden. You need to change law. It's hard work. I was talking to somebody who was not willing to make a deal or compromise, and it made me think of football. I'm not sure exactly why, except that we all know about football. It's not just the men in here. Everybody knows about football. Real football, American football, not that other stuff. If you think about this, you're the team, you receive the ball, you're on offense, and the playbook comes out from the coach, and you open it up, it's got one page. It says pass to end zone. After about 2 or 3 attempts at that, you're done because you'll never be able to execute that play. Sometimes you need to be able to just move the chain. Maybe you're running, maybe you're passing, maybe you're getting 6 yards or 8 yards or 10 or 12 yards. You want to move the chains in your direction. You've got to be willing to do that. If you don't have to worry about how a bill becomes a law because it won't. Okay, so the 60 votes problem in the Senate, how do you overcome that? Well, you get 60 Republican senators, and that takes care of that. We seem to have some difficulty in doing that. You've heard about doing something under reconciliation. Makes me tired to think about it. So, what is that? Because people will ask me that all the time. Well, why can't they just do it under reconciliation? Reconciliation is a very narrow thing. You get to it by passing a budget. Well, there's a challenge there. Congress has been known not to even be able to pass a budget for a while, but you've got to pass a budget, and in the budget, there are reconciliation instructions. I'm going to pull out a piece of paper here in a minute to make sure I don't screw this up. But once you get those instructions, then in comes the budget committee, and a budget has got to be written, and a budget's got to go through the rules committee, and that's got to be passed in the House. And if it's not bipartisan, it's going to be a tough Tough lift. But you can pass it with a simple majority in the House if you stick together. Senate's going through the same stuff, right? They've got to pass a budget. And in that budget, there's got to be reconciliation instructions. And that's got to come together before you can even start to do the reconciliation. Somewhere in here, yep, here it is. I'm going to talk about the Senate. That means I have to have a piece of paper. In the Senate, they're going through the same process. The budget's got to be end up being the same as the budget in the House for it to go forward, and their reconciliation instructions have got to be the same. In the Senate, there's a thing called the Byrd Rule, named for former Senator Robert Byrd, B-Y-R-D. And the Senate, a lot of times, doesn't operate by rule. They just operate by precedence. This is why we've always done it, so we've got to keep doing it. The Byrd Rule is pretty specific here, and I'm going to, in addition to my hearing aids, I also need glasses. Terry, when I started this, I didn't need either one, so. Okay, so here they are. 3 core questions under the Byrd Rule. 1, does the provision, which came as instructions when the budget was passed, does the provision produce a change in spending or revenues? Does it produce a cost or savings? Provisions must have a direct budgetary effect to qualify. If it doesn't, it's out. 2, are any budget changes merely a side effect of a larger non-budgetary policy goal? If the main purpose is policy, rather than budget savings or cost, the provision is sunk. You can't just have a bill that's just policy. We're going to change gun control. It's got to have an impact on savings or budget. Now, it just gets harder and harder. Does the provision stay within the committee's assigned instructions? It must also follow other strict rules, including no changes to Social Security and no increases in the deficit beyond the 10-year budget window. So, I've got 2 pages of this stuff, but that's the core of it. That's what the Senate has to deal with to get to reconciliation. And while we'll sit here and we'll say, I may have said it myself a time or two, and I know many of you have, why don't they just do it by reconciliation? You only need 51 votes. That's a problem. You've got to look at spending impacts. This reminds me, there's another point I want to make. A budget spends no money. You can pass budgets all day long. You can't spend a dime. You have to appropriate the funds. That means the budget says we're going to spend this big block of money on defense and this big block of money on labor issues and this on agriculture and so forth. But each of those committees has to come up with a bill to appropriate the money. And then it goes to the overall appropriations committee. Then, you got to have a rule again. And then you got to have a vote. The budget doesn't spend a dime. But you can't have reconciliation without a budget that gives the reconciliation instructions. I hope you're thoroughly confused, because now you will be careful not to say, well, let's just do it through reconciliation. It is hard work. It is hard work. I know everybody loves to beat up on politicians. I heard it here today. Not to take any shots at those people, but all of them stand up here and say, those darn politicians, all those politicians in Washington or in St. Paul, those politicians. Wait a minute, aren't you running for elective office? You might be a politician, so be careful. Okay, so that's it. That's how a bill becomes a law. That's all you ever want to hear about reconciliation. Now let's talk about what you want to talk about, not what Don Patton made me talk about. Come on, that's just the way it is. I'm wide open. Oh, not you, Don. She needs a microphone.
You weren't in the Senate, but you were able to observe them. There's only 100 senators, right? So do they get along with each other? You know, you hear about them going out to dinners after they've beaten each other up on the floor. Is that reality?
Depends on who's buying. They do pretty much get along with each other. Not everybody. I pretty much got along with, I got along with a lot. I got along with several of my Democrat colleagues in the House. Actually, more than that. Most of them I just never got to know and didn't want to get to know them and didn't want to talk to them anyway, so it wasn't a big deal. But some of them I did want to work with. And when I was a committee chairman and I had Democrats with me on the committee, I was very, very careful to make sure they were included and give them all the opportunities that the law allowed to speak and try to get their buy-in on legislation. In the old days, when al-Aqidi was a member of Congress before he became governor, most members of Congress, House and Senate, moved to Washington, D.C. Al did. Now, almost no members of the House and Senate actually move to Washington and enroll their kids in school there and all. They don't do it. They maintain their residence in their home state, which by law you must do to be in the House or Senate, and then they fly to Washington to vote and to argue and debate and introduce legislation and do those kinds of things. The reason I bring that up is there's nobody hanging around there on a weekend to go eat barbecue and drink beer. Everybody's back in their home district. So a lot of the socialization that used to exist 25, 30 years ago just really isn't there anymore. In the House, the way it's been working for the last few years is you're out there for 4 days. You start with meetings and activities about 8 o'clock in the morning. You go to 10, 11 o'clock at night. And then you go home after 4 days. There's no sitting around social. I've been known, many of you will be shocked to know that I occasionally smoke a cigar. In the winter, it's very rare here in Minnesota to smoke a cigar, unless you're crazy enough to smoke in your house. And so I would sit around sometimes with some colleagues. Sometimes the Democrats would be in the room. The thing about when you light a cigar is you've got an hour commitment to time. And you do have a chance to talk. So, yes, sometimes you make friends. Colin Peterson and I got along very, very well, for example. He was the last of the Blue Dogs. I was glad he was defeated, by the way, but yeah, they're not we were not in the House and they're not in the Senate at each other's throats. Maybe one or two people that are, out there trolling for trouble, but generally not.
Can I see that you were in, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh.
Way back there.
I don't know who they're talking to. Okay. I see you served until 2017. So how do you think social media of today has changed our Congress?
It's an excellent question. Yeah, I walked out the door for the last time on January 3rd, 2017, which means I did not run in 2016. It was changing. When I first started to run, there was some newspaper involvement, heavy television, very little radio, and then some signs and posters and things. And we used to work like crazy to get on TV, to be interviewed on a news channel. We spent a lot of money, even back in those days, producing and buying TV time. There was no such thing as whatever it's all changed now. I think it's X now, or it was, it was Facebook and FaceTime, and that was barely starting when I left. It's become more and more important. It's not that TV is still important, but it has changed because how many of you have your phone in your pocket? All of you. That means you have your camera in your pocket. That's another thing that didn't exist then. Everything you do, running for office, serving in office, is captured on, quote, film. I know there's no film anywhere in the world anymore, but you're captured. That changed in the years from when I was first elected in 2002 until I walked out the door in that January. So it does make a difference. And that means that in order to run a campaign now, particularly at the Congressional, House or Senate, a governor's race, you have to have a team. You can't just have a team of volunteers that go door to door. Too many doors. You have to have a team that includes a very, very good pollster, a very, very good television production guy. You've got to have a press secretary or a comms director. You've got to have volunteer coordinators. You've got to have drivers. It still costs a lot of money. The internet didn't make the costs go away. We're looking here, a U.S. congressional race. It's probably going to be $3 million you got to have now. The Senate will be over $20 million. Over $20 million. A lot of money. And that's even with the arrival, if you will, of the internet. Anything else? I can go back and talk about reconciliation. Oh, no, in the back. I'm sorry.
John, one of the things you didn't mention was the committee process. When there's differences between the House and Senate bills, it goes to a committee that's comprised, I think, of members of the House and the Senate to try to come up with common language. Can you explain that committee?
Yeah, Don, I can. It very seldom happens now. But since you've opened the door, and it's not yet 12 o'clock, just get comfortable. I'll try to explain this to you. So you have to have the House and the Senate bill be exactly the same, verbatim. Now, you can do that in several ways. You've got teams that are just sharing the information, and both sides, the House and the Senate, can start adjusting, and the staff can make agreements, and you get to a point where the principals, the members of the House and the senators, get together and agree. That's called pre-conferencing. Now you've agreed, you haven't gone to a conference committee, which I'm going to get to, Don, just be patient back there. You've now got bills that have the same language because it's been talked out in an informal way. Nevertheless, they're the same. Now they still have to be voted on. Just because you've agreed, that doesn't mean it's done. The Senate has to vote, on what you've agreed to, and the House has to vote on what you've agreed to without changing a comma. You've probably heard many times, well, why didn't they just strike out that paragraph? If they just take that provision out, it'd be better. Because you can't. They have to be exactly the same. If they are, then they can go forward and be signed and the president can make it law. Now, it was originally envisioned, and by the way, I did that with the bill. How many of you have heard of the Workforce Investment Act? One. Thank you, Cynthia. She used to work for me, so. And she was fabulous. Nobody liked her, by the way. Why would you care? But we have such a thing, and I've had it for years. You may know about a one-stop thing. Most counties have a one-stop place where you're supposed to go in if you're unemployed, and you can get some help doing a resume and finding work. And these things have grown. Just got to be giant, cumbersome things, these Workforce Investment Act. And I had people, governors and mayors, including here in Minnesota, saying, John, you got to change this thing. It's just terrible. And they're right. It was just terrible. So I said, when I was a chairman of the Education and Workforce Committee, that we'll write a bill. And we did, and Virginia Fox was on my committee at the time. She's the chair of the Rules Committee now, by the way. And we had this bill, and we called it very cleverly the Skills Act. That was an acronym, but the point, it was about skill for working. And the Senate was doing something over on their side of the Capitol. And my friend, Johnny Isakson, the late and former senator from Georgia, calls up and said, hey, John, can we take on WIA? I said, well, Johnny, people have been asking that question for years before you and I even got here. It's just a morass. He said, well, Patty, that would be Senator Patty Murray from Washington, now the president pro tem of the Senate, wants to do it. And I want to do it. So in the Senate, we can do something. And I said, well, Johnny, here's the thing. Right now, we have a bill that eliminates 38 government programs. You have a bill that's not yet passed that eliminates one. We got a long ways apart here. Yeah, he said, I know. He's a Republican. He said, but let's work on it. I said, okay, let's do. And so that's the royal we, I didn't actually do any work, staff jumped in and we started working it and working it and working it. And in the end of all that, in a pre-conference way, we didn't actually go to a conference committee, we got agreement between the House and Senate, and we end up not eliminating the 38 districts, which I wanted to eliminate, but we eliminated 19. To me, that's moving the chains in the right direction. It's better. Moved our way. It was a big bite for them to go from eliminating one, which, by the way, hadn't been funded in 10 years, but that was another aside. In a conference committee, we did that too. Both sides have been trying for years to get rid of the education law called No Child Left Behind. Nobody liked the thing. It had grown way past its reauthorization date. It was a monster. Schools were, quote, failing all across the country. It was a mess. And yet we couldn't get it done. So again, we leaped in, and on the Republican side, and I was the chairman of the committee, and we passed a bill. And the Senate got in, Lamar Alexander, the Republicans were in the majority there. They didn't have 60 votes, but they were in the majority. They passed a bill. And the staff was working it out in a pre-conference way, but eventually we had to go to a conference committee. And I was the chair of that too. I'd never been in a conference committee. Hardly anybody had, because it was usually done in a pre-conference way. We had a conference committee, took several days. Both sides made some changes, and in the end, we got language that was exactly the same. We passed it, and Barack Obama was president of the United States. He signed it, and we changed the law. The reason we were able to do that was because of my brilliance as chair. No, it was not. It was not. Well, maybe I had to know. It's because everybody hated that law. Teachers hated it, superintendents hated it, parents hated it, Republicans hated it, Democrats hated it. We'd had to change it. And nobody wanted to be the person who stopped us from changing it. Okay, so we're hammering all this out. We go into summer. I forgot we were off. You know, Congress gets off for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, all the time. So, anyway, we were back in our districts, and we had a conference call with the principals, the chairman of the committee in the House, the ranking member in the House, the chairman in the Senate, the ranking member in the Senate, and we got on a conference call. We're down to the issues where it couldn't be hammered out. Staff couldn't agree to it. And so Patty Murray wanted $250 million to create a new pre-K program in the Department of Education. Yeah. So, and she was just adamant about this. So we're on the call, and I finally said, Patty, look it. Remember, I'm from the party that wants to abolish the Department of Education. The chances of getting a majority vote on a bill that creates a brand new program, pre-K, in the Department of Education are 0. I won't bring it to the floor. And of course the staff were all listening with muted phones, and somebody sent a message and said, I think she's going to cry. So I don't know if she cried or not, but we didn't do that. We didn't do that. I told her, I said, I'll compromise with you. We can take that $250 million and put it in another department. And where do you think that department would be? Where is early childhood education? Head Start. It's in the Labor Department. Fine, put it over there. We are not starting a new pre-K program in the Department of Education. It can't happen. I won't bring it forward. The Speaker wouldn't let me bring it forward. The Speaker was Paul Ryan at that point. But that's how the conference committee thing works, Don. It's seldom used, but it can work. One more question. I don't know. Here, Dalia. Here.
When you were talking about people not liking the word compromise, there's a group here in Minnesota called Action for Liberty, and they're going after some of our seated Republicans just because they want to compromise on something out in D.C. Could you address that?
Yeah, I think I just did. That's the playbook that has pass to end zone. And that's the only thing that they'll support. I'm sorry, but when you have to get something done, and we want to get something done, right? Everybody in here is a Republican. And we would all rather have any Republican than any Democrat. I would. If you have the one playbook, you've got to do it my way or no way. You can't compromise. You can't make a deal. Do you think you'll ever be able to get anything done? Do you think you'll ever be able to get rid of the No Child Left Behind law, for example? No. You have to understand that you cannot get everything you want in divided government. You can't. They get a vote. Maybe they shouldn't, but they get a vote. So please don't get in this "it's got to be my way or the highway" thing. Okay, I guess there's one more over here.
Yes.
Another suffering candidate.
Thank
Yes,
you,
ma'am.
John. You spoke about how expensive campaigns are. In
Yes.
2024, our campaign raised 2.2 million. Ilhan raised 8-point-something millions. How, from your point of view, we can encounter this machine while the majority of the Republican leadership nationwide believes that CD5 is a lost cause?
Right. Right. Well, they're basing that on the performance of a lot of years, unfortunately, because we've watched what's happened with the electorate in Minneapolis. I know I wouldn't want to run there with a gun to my head, and I thank you very much for having the courage to step in there. It's a hard case to sell, because here's what many donors, including the leadership, are looking at. These races cost millions of dollars. That means that the CD2 race costs millions of dollars, the CD7 one, races which we think we can win, still going to cost millions of dollars. If you put millions of dollars into CD5, which you don't think you can win, I know you do, but I'm talking about other people, you're saying, okay, I can't put it into CD2 then because I just put it in CD5. That's the debate that's going on locally, and individual donors are deciding. I'm saying I'm a potential donor, and I've budgeted. Budgets don't spend money, but $2,000 to support race. I've got to make the same kind of judgments myself. And in the large, Tim Scott is the head of the National Republican Senatorial Committee. Wonderful guy. He served in the House with me for one term. He was on the committee, Education Workforce Committee. He still calls me chairman. I get a kick out of that, but he's the chairman of the NRSC, and he and his team are making those same kind of decisions. So the better case you can make, the more likely you are to get money, because everybody in this room would far rather have you than Ilhan Omar. Exactly. Every Republican in the country, but they're making those same decisions. Saying, "Oh boy, Minnesota 5. I've got to give it to 7 or something like that." That's what you're dealing with. But thanks for running. Okay, thank you very much.
Well, we sure appreciate you sharing your wisdom with us.
You didn't say I had to share wisdom.
Folks, we have a prize drawing here for. Okay, the last 4 numbers are 6774. Here we go. We have a winner, and one more coming up. Thank you. The last 4 numbers: 6850. And it's not mine because I gave my ticket away already. Did that person leave? 6850. We got another one. 6850. 222. Winner. There we go. We have a winner. Okay, thank you. Folks, remember to tell a friend or neighbor.
2 cents for 2 minutes.
We're running kind of late, but we have 2 cents for 2 minutes. Is there anybody? Yes, sir. Okay, right here. KT.
KT Jacobs, I am not only a candidate for 39B, House of Representatives, running against a very strong Democratic candidate, so I'm looking for everybody's help. I want to announce that we started the watch party in the North Metro area last fall and had to find a new location. We are now going to be located at the Columbia Heights VFW, 4446 Central Avenue. And that's right on the southwest corner of 45th. May 12th, 2026 will be our first meeting there. Doors open at 9:30. Agenda for the meeting will start at 10, as it does down here. We'll have coffee, juice, and snacks for the attendees. And handicap parking is located and accessible from Central Avenue if you're heading south. Otherwise, additional parking is on the upper level, and you would come in on that on 45th. Small donation would be helpful to let us show our gratitude to the VFW for letting us being there. We look forward to seeing as many people as we can. We were about 15 last fall, and we're hoping to at least double that in the next month or two. Thank you.
And I'm sure you will. Good. Okay, is there anybody else? Oh, Elaine.
Got him back. Thank you. Where's our other microphone?
Thank you. Kim Rich again, House candidate for 46B. I just wanted to elaborate on what your question was to Lisa when we were talking earlier about Minneapolis. And one of the things that worked to help get these 3 House seats flipped was we had candidates on every ballot in Minneapolis and the southwest suburbs. And some of those folks gave up they didn't give up, but they were defeated and they felt defeated and they aren't stepping up again. So there's a bunch of House seats that are open. And Lion Dale, right next to me here, he ran in Bloomington, and he did really well. And I'm trying to talk him into running again or making sure that we have someone on the ballot. That's how we win. That's how Lisa was able to flip those 3 seats, because we kept our opponents busy. The Democrats, when they're unopposed, they would have run up to northern Minnesota and helped campaign in that close election up there. And that's how they got the trifecta. And we have a lot of momentum right now in the Republican Party in Minnesota. We cannot let that go and not address the fact that there's open seats. People aren't stepping up for Senate or for the House, and we just need that. So that's
Good
my
point.
2 cents worth, and I hope you will at least talk to your neighbors or step up yourselves.
There
It's
you
really
go.
actually quite rewarding to run for office.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I'll be really quick. Metro Republican Women on Saturday, May 9th, is having a governor's forum, and we have a commitment from 8 or 9 of the people running. So it'll be a breakfast meeting at the Mendakota Country Club. You do have to pre-register, but if you want to come, just Google Metro Republican Women and it'll bring up our website.
Okay, one more here.
Okay, I'll try to be real quick. My name is Shar Guffian. I'm the new executive director for the American Majority Minnesota. I go around the state. I train activists, grassroots candidates, and I'm working on campaign management. We have a huge gap in Minnesota. with campaign management as well. So I want to make sure that we're doing that. We're in the process of hiring door knockers and phone callers for the CD2 area for sure. And also I'm looking for 2 field staff that are year-round permanent jobs too. So if you know somebody who would like to get involved and learn how to teach people how to do voter registration, AV ballot chase, that sort of thing, let me know. I'll be here. I can give you my card, or you can sign up for my newsletter. Thank you.
Okay, it's 12 o'clock, folks. Keep the faith. Drive carefully going home. Want to see you here next month. God bless. Trust Trump, and pray for our military.
Republican Seniors of Minnesota. For more information, please visit republicanseniorsmn.com. While visiting our website, you can click on the video tab to watch videos of past meetings. Also, look for other tabs that bring you to our live player and other video programs. Or, on YouTube, search for Republican Seniors of Minnesota